Thanks a lot for staying tuned in. The chances for Nigeria to become a net exporter of gas in addition to oil is getting more traction under the current administration. And by the day, President Bola Tinubu is following up on this dream, which is one of his campaign promises to fully harness the potentials of the country in oil and gas. He got a step further in this aspiration with his trip to Equatorial Guinea, where he and the host President Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo signed an agreement on Gulf of Guinea pipeline project. In a statement, the presidential advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Nglale, pointed out that the agreement covered legislative and regulatory measures for the gas pipeline establishment and operation, transit of natural gas, ownership of a gas pipeline, and general principles. After the significant seal of agreements, President Tinubu said the signing will open up new opportunities for gas exploration and employment. The president revealed that the two leaders had discussed issues related to the creation of employment, food security, multilateral relations, and conflict resolution mechanisms on the continent during a private meeting that preceded the signing of the agreement. The two leaders also discussed challenges of security, African Continental Free Trade Area, and food security. In his remark, the president of Equatorial Guinea said bilateral relations with Nigeria over many years have been rewarding and emphasized the need to deepen cooperation across salient areas. President Mbasogo said Africa's vision of having a permanent seat in the Security Council of the United Nations is vital for the development of a continent, affirming that Equatorial Guinea will work with Nigeria to realize the objective. The president of Equatorial Guinea said the signing of the agreement was strategic for Africa's development. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, and his counterpart of Equatorial Guinea, Simeon Essono, also signed the agreement in the presence of other relevant ministers from Nigeria. President Tinubu returned to the country after the three-day official visit to the Central African country. Now, to help us understand more about this agreement is the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo. Thanks a lot for joining us, Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Honorable Minister, you just returned from Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, where Nigeria and that country signed an agreement on a gas pipeline project. Nigerians need to know more about this. Can you help us into that?
All right. Thank you very much in the first place for the question. And let me begin by expressing my sincere thanks to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for taking that bold step. Yeah, it was a good one for our country, Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea. One, it will talk about the maritime Gulf of Guinea security, that is the signing, and it will strengthen the collaboration between the two countries. On the issue of the gas, it's going to be a win-win situation in view of the fact that they have the infrastructure in Equatorial Guinea and we have the gas in Nigeria. And so between these two countries, Nigeria will supply Equatorial Guinea with gas for processing. And after processing, the gas will be exported to the EU, which will bring about economic gains, generate revenue for Nigeria and for Equatorial Guinea. In the gas value chain, employment will be created for the laying of the pipeline, which is about 180 kilometers from the source of gas in Nigeria to Ponta Europa gas pipeline or gas LNG in Equatorial Guinea. This project will bring about the upstream production of gas in Nigeria to up to 3 to 5 trillion cubic feet. And it will cost about 1.5 billion US dollars to develop the gas, while the pipeline will take about 800 million US dollars to be constructed. And so it is a fine relationship that is going to exist between the two countries. And of course, you know the volume of gas that we have in Nigeria. And so the president being so strategic and intentional in the development of gas, which led to this engagement, is a very good one for our country, Nigeria, and for Equatorial Guinea. Thank you.
Well, Honorable Minister, it's good to know that this is going to be a win-win situation for both countries. But does this take anything away from Nigeria's ability to process gas right from here for final distribution?
Not at all. Nigeria, we are equally developing. The Trend 7 is ongoing in Borno, and the NNPC, they have earmarked some other areas that they are going to, like in Kogi State, that they are going to do LNG plants. And so we are developing our own equally. But this one, I think, is giving a hand of fellowship to our neighbor, Equatorial Guinea. Remember, Nigeria is the giant of Africa, and we are the big brothers of other African countries. And so it is showing love to Equatorial Guinea since they have the infrastructure, but they don't have the feedstock.
Yes, agreement has been signed, which indicated interest and intention of both parties. But one thing is to sign agreement, and the other is for it to come into fruition. How soon should Nigerians expect this project to materialize, and what is the time frame?
Okay, yeah, the whole thing has started. Commercial engagement between NNPC and Sonagas started before this other signing of the agreement, which will give them the political, the impetus and strength or power to carry on. So I am looking at 2026 and 2027 for us to benefit from this engagement, because they are going to kickstart at the very high speed after the signing of the agreement.
Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekpo, thanks a lot for your time and these perspectives.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless Nigeria.
And before his trip to Malabo, President Bola Tinubu gained a major support as members of Council of State passed a vote of confidence in him and his ability to lead the country to a greater height. It was at the first meeting of the council under the president. Former President Muhammadu Buhari touches ground at the State House for the first time since he left here in May 2023. His respect for time is intact as he arrived well ahead of time. And former President Goodluck Jonathan too. It was for the first council meeting, and this administration also attended by state governors. Generals Yakubu Gowon and Abdusalami Abubakar attended virtually. At the instance of President Tinubu, the council members, quite aware of the situation in the country, but needed to know more about the responsive efforts of the government, especially at ameliorating effect of the socio-economic realities on Nigerians. Ministers in key sectors of the economy, such as agriculture, works, solid minerals, finance, trade and investments had their turns to report on progresses being made, particularly in the diversification process. After the meeting, which lasted about 4 hours behind closed doors, Chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum and Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak and Minister of Solid Minerals Development, as well as Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, revealed the outcomes.
And we indeed had a very robust meeting. The high note of the meeting was a unanimous passage of a vote of confidence on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Members, especially those of the Nigerian Governors Forum, were satisfied with the presentation by the members of the Federal Executive Council. And I'm glad to say we're on the right track.
So after the NSA's briefing, generally he allayed everybody's fears and spoke on the tightness of the security around the country, and also reassured all and sundry that nobody will be allowed to truncate our hard-earned democracy. Any change of government has to be through the ballots and not through the barrel of the gun or through insurrection or through any other unconstitutional means.
The efforts at turning around the economy and the successes recorded were also commended.
We reported that there was good progress being made, that the effort was going to continue to ensure that the interventions and measures to ameliorate the high cost of living for individuals, for the agricultural sector, for industry, for small-scale businesses, were going to continue to be implemented with all efforts needed for success.
After the council meeting, state governors also had their private meeting with the president on various issues of the nation. Now we have one of the governors to help us know more about the outcomes of this meeting. That's the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawa. Thanks a lot for joining us, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right, Your Excellency, there is hardship in town. The president has alluded to these several times, and the government has taken several measures to ameliorate this hardship. And now we're having this meeting of Council of State. What about this? What do you say to it?
Well, let me say this, like you rightly pointed out, there's serious economic hardship in the country. And it's part of the reason why people had to go on protest last week. Of course, we are concerned as a responsible government to look at the critical issues and begin to think of the possible ways of tackling some of these challenges so that Nigerians will feel it, and for them also to be a bit comfortable. They may not be completely comfortable, but at least to provide some kind of relief for some of these challenges. And that was exactly what was discussed at the State Council at the Villa, and is ongoing. Committee will be set up to look at some of these challenges with the hope of bringing solution to these challenges.
Right, good to know about the efforts of the Council of State, but now already the federal government has taken some measures, including distribution of palliatives to the state government for onward delivery to the less privileged people in the society. How about this?
For me, well, it's a temporary measure because it's not something that is sustainable. I think we need to look at the bigger picture and begin to provide a permanent solution to some of these challenges. We may continue to give palliatives to people, but I don't think that will solve the problem. That is my own opinion.
So in that case, Your Excellency, what do you think the government, talking about the federal now, and the subnationals to do as the lasting solution?
Well, I can't preempt what is going to happen. Like I said, the committee will be set up by Mr. President to critically look at these challenges. It is only when the committee meets they will be able to deliberate and discuss and come up with solution to some of the challenges facing the country.
Right. Okay, Your Excellency, would you like to talk about the personal efforts you have been taking at the state level to complement what the federal government has been doing?
Well, we came up with a lot of measures. And the first thing we did was to realize, look at the salary structure of the state. I can confidently tell you that right from the creation of the state, there was never any incremental changes in terms of salaries. But as a responsible government, Sometimes in June, we decided to implement the previous minimum wage in Zamfara State. And that is across both at local government as well as state. And that has cushioned the effect of the hardship. And we're also coming with other measures in terms of training people to be self-reliant by providing some kind of incentives where people can do some kind of businesses that they'll be able to sustain themselves. It's part of the measures put in place. We're also doing a lot in the area of agriculture, providing all the implements to make sure people go to farm so that at least they can produce what they can consume in the meantime. So it's an ongoing process.
Your Excellency, Governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawa, we really appreciate your time on the program.
Thank you very much, my brother.
During the week, the federal government also took delivery of 20 compressed natural gas CNG-powered buses from the Depot and Petroleum Product Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPMAN. President Bola Tinubu took the delivery of the high-capacity buses of the State House. The Federal Executive Council meeting held this Monday with different memos on the agenda. But after a few hours of deliberation and consideration, council members took to the forecourt of the State House to witness another success under the presidential CNG initiative. Under NNPCL arrangements, the Depot and Petroleum Product Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPMAN, is delivering locally manufactured hybrid buses planned to run on CNG.
To the glory of God and promise of change to prosperity for Nigerian transportation, I hereby inaugurate the bus.
With commercial vehicles constituting about 80% of petrol demands in the country, while the abundant deposit of natural gas is under harnessed, President Bola Tinubu believes Nigeria must be innovative in its approach towards reworking the economy for greater prosperity.
If we work harder, be productive and innovative, it is an economic necessity that we should embrace. If we can enhance our energy competitiveness and bring about transformative changes like this, we would definitely be able to achieve the prosperity that we are working hard to accomplish for our people.
Apart from aiming at a more environmentally friendly transportation system, the current administration is also targeting reduction in the cost of transportation with the CNG initiative.
This will contribute in bringing down transportation costs, and we know that if transportation costs come down, food and so many things will follow, since transportation seems to be one of the little issues or the big issues we have in Nigeria.
It's going to be very significant because CNG, apart from being cleaner, is much, much cheaper. And so, because it's cheaper to fuel the vehicles, the price is going to be way, way down. So for the public, this is the way to go.
The CNG initiative is one has come to stay. Government has invested heavily in that direction, and we know and we do hope that this is really going to be something that has come to stay for our country.
The government is hoping for more delivery of CNG vehicles for mass transportation, with many assembly plants designated for manufacturing and conversion across the country. And Nigeria's civil service is now poised for new vigor and direction as Mrs. Esther Wilson-Jack has been sworn in as the new head of the civil service of the Federation. The ceremony was before the commencement of a Federal Executive Council meeting for the week under the chairmanship of President Bola Tinubu. Mrs. Walsey Jack took over from Mrs. Folashade Yemiesa, who proceeds on retirement from civil service after 5 years in the top civil service position.
But one thing I have done is to put in my best into the service.
It's sunset for Folashade Yemiesa in the Federal Civil Service. And in the last moments in the council chambers in this capacity, Mrs. Yemiesa literally saw herself in a mirror. The council members, through the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, extolled the virtues of Mrs. Yemiesa as a public servant, which they believe have fostered transparency, efficiency and accountability in the Federal Civil Service.
One of her most significant achievements has been the implementation of the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan 2021 to 2025, which is focused on capacity building and talent management, performance management system, arts, human resource, innovation, digitization, content services, and staff welfare.
These attributes have also won a place in the mind of a president who acknowledged the diligence of the outgone head of civil service and what he described as big shoes for the incoming #1 federal civil servant.
We must learn from her more of commitment to duty, loyalty, and great vision. She served our nation exceptionally well with distinction, guiding the civil service through significant transformation and reform.
As big as the shoes may be, Didi Esther Walsey Jack was set to step in anyways. Another thoroughbred administrator herself, Walsey Jack, who transferred her service from Bayelsa State Civil Service, had served as Federal Permanent Secretary in different ministries including Niger Delta and Education.
God will continue to guide you, provide you with the wisdom, and enhance your integrity to serve this country and the civil service in the most transparent and successful manner.
I'm looking forward to building on the existing reforms in a way that will bring in innovation and creativity so that the civil service bureaucracy can be more effective and more efficient to deliver on the renewed hope agenda.
Didi Esther Walsey Jack, born in 1966 from Bayelsa State, is now the 21st head of civil service of the Federation and 5th woman in this capacity. And that has been the executive recap for the week on the network service of NTA. Thanks a lot for sharing your time with us. I am Musbah, then Wahab. God bless Nigeria.
Confidence is there. Hope is back for Nigeria.
Wow, look at that. Until recently, I had no idea what a pangolin was. Man, this thing is strong. It's a small mammal covered with scales made of keratin, just like our nails. Strong scales, man. The scales has no medicinal value, yet the demand for the scales and the meat is driving the pangolins to extinction. This one's name is Igai, and it was rescued from illegal bushmeat trade. It's going back into the wild where it belongs to